Hello students, in today's session let's learn about an interesting topic, inheritance. In last class we have discussed various topics such as birth of object oriented programming, various features and principles of object oriented programming, how to write a simple object oriented program, that is Java, classes, objects, constructors. Today we will be going to discuss another important feature of Java, that is inheritance. Before we go and discuss what is inheritance and how it is used in Java programming, let's understand an example of how a child acquired all the behavioral pattern of a parent. During the birth of a child, all the characteristics of a parent like color, height, weight, etc. will be encoded into the DNA and which will be inherited by a child. So, as the child grows, it exhibits all the characteristics of its parent. So, the point here is that the child inherited the properties from the parent. So, by seeing this real life example, the founders of Java created a third principle of Java, that is inheritance. So, let us formally define inheritance as one class can acquire the properties and behavior of the another class. Inheritance can be classified into 5 types. 1. Simple inheritance. 2. Multi-level inheritance. 3. Hierarchical inheritance. 4. Multiple inheritance, and 5. Hybrid inheritance. Among these, multiple and hybrid inheritance are not supported in Java. In the terminology of Java, a class that is inherited is called as superclass. The class that does the inheriting is called as subclass. Therefore, a subclass is a specialized version of a superclass. It inherits all the members defined by the superclass and add its own unique elements. Let us see the general form of a class declaration that inherits a superclass. Class subclass name extends superclass name. Inside we can write a body of the class. So, here subclass is the class which is inheriting all the properties and methods of a parent class. To inherit all the properties and methods from the parent class, we need to use Java keyword extends. In Java terminology, a superclass and a parent class are one and the same. Similarly, subclass and child class or derived class are one and the same. Let us understand the first category of inheritance, that is simple inheritance. To inherit a class, you simply incorporate the definition of one class into another class by using the extends keyword. To see how, let us begin with the short example. The following program creates a superclass called A and a subclass called B. Notice how the keyword extends is used to create a subclass of A. So, we have class A with the data members int I, j and the methods void show ij, and inside that method we have simply an output string I and j. Now, create a subclass by extending a class A where it will inherit all the methods and data members, and it can also have its own data members and methods. Class B extends A and it is having data members int k and the methods void show k, which is having system.out.println k. It is having the methods void show, inside that it is having simply a printing statements of variable k, and also it is having another method called void sum. It is also having the printing method of I plus j plus k. Now, create a main class simple inheritance which is having the main method public static void main with superclass A object and subclass object. A super object is equal to new of A and B sub object is equal to new of B. Now, initialize superclass data members through superclass objects, that is super ob dot I equal to 10 and super ob dot j equal to 20. If you want to see whether the members are initialized properly, then print it by calling show ij method of a superclass through its object. System.out.println contents of super object dot is superobject dot show of ij. Now the next turn is subclass. As you know already, through extends keyword, subclass has already access to all the methods and data members of a superclass. Now initialize subclass data members through subclass object, that is sub ob dot I equal to 7, sub ob dot j equal to 8, sub ob dot k equal to 9. If you want to see whether the members are initialized properly, then print it by calling show ij method of a superclass through subclass object as system.out.println contents of subobject, that is sub ob dot show ij and sub ob dot show k. So system.out.println, it will going to display all the things. As subclass has additional methods declared inside that class, the subclass methods sum through subclass object called sub ob. System.out.println sum of I, j and k, that is by calling sub ob dot sum method. When you compile and run the program, you will be getting the contents of the super objects I and j 10 and 20 respectively, contents of sub object I and j are 7 and 8 respectively, k will be 9. So sum of I, j and k in the sub object will be 24 respectively. As you can see, the subclass B includes all the members of the superclass A. So this is why subclass object SUBOB can access I and j and call show of ij method. Also inside sum, I and j can be referred directly as if they were part of the class B. Even though A is a superclass of B, it is also a completely independent and standalone. Being a superclass for a subclass does not mean that the superclass cannot be used by itself. Further, a subclass can be a superclass for another class, which is called as multi-level inheritance. Hope you have understood the concept of simple inheritance. Moving forward, we will be now discussing the second category of inheritance, that is multi-level inheritance. As the name indicates, multi-level inheritance means one subclass or a child class will be superclass for another class. So in this session, you have learned what is inheritance, how it is used in Java programming, categories of inheritance. Among categories, we have learned a simple inheritance with an example. So in the next session, we will continue our discussion with another forms of inheritance. Until we meet again, bye.